Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you're all very well. Today, as you can see from the title, I am doing my current makeup routine. I'm going to link all of the products down below with their full names. If I can find prices, I will add those in as well. So let me get started. Next shot is me without makeup. You've been warned. Enjoy! Right, I'm going to start with foundation, and the one I've been loving the most at the moment is the Stila Illuminating Liquid Foundation, and this is in the shade 40 Watts. It's quite a liquid formula, and it's got really nice illuminating particles in it, but not shimmery particles. It's not scary. I apply this with my fingers first, because I find it's one of those formulations that needs to be warmed up in order to get into the skin and sit properly. If you have oilier skin, you might get away with just using a brush. I can't. My skin's quite dry and it looks kind of patchy if I don't work it into the skin. Most foundations I find actually I need to do this. I like this one because it's a light to medium coverage, but you can build it if you want to. So if I'm going out on a night out, I will get my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush like this, and I will kind of buff it into my skin and put a couple of layers on. But for everyday use, like I'm doing today, I actually just kind of buff it in with my fingers, and then I take a wet Real Techniques, what do they call this? And I just bounce, bounce, bounce. This helps blend it really well and gives a nice natural finish. It is much better to use these damp. I find if you use them dry, it's a little bit, it leaves the skin a little bit powdery looking, whereas this gives quite a natural glow. This foundation's not showing up as well on camera as it would normally, but I don't expect it to. It's really nice and natural in daylight, in real life. Right. Now I'm going to move on to concealer. I use two different types of concealer. The first one is kind of a under eye highlighting kind of vibe, and then the other one is for quite serious spots and things like that I've got to deal with. So the under eye one that I love is the Max Factor Masterpiece Under Eye Corrector and Concealer, and this is in the shade Fair. You twist it up like that. It's got a little doe foot applicator that I just pop under the eyes like that. I find that a triangle under the eyes works better than a circle, just because it helps highlight. This is quite a highlighting concealer as well as a covering up one. Again, I use my fingers. I just find it blends product so much better than a brush. And then I always just take any excess up over my eyelids, because I've got quite dark veins on my eyelid. And I don't necessarily always want to use a primer. I find it quite a faff. Trying to use as few products as I can, because this is kind of get out of the house in the morning kind of routine. And then the heavy duty concealer I use is the Benefit Boi-ing, which is actually called Industrial Strength Concealer. And this is in the shade 01. It's a very, very thick cake formula. It's quite creamy though, and it blends really easily. Just use it in places where I need it extra coverage. Again, I use my fingers on the side of my nose. And I go back in with my Real Techniques sponge and just kind of make sure all of that is well blended. Then I set that, especially under my eyes, because I find that it moves quite a lot. This is the Real Techniques setting brush. It looks like that. It's got a little bullet top. And the powder that I use is this one. It's the Bourjois Healthy Balance, and this is in the shade Light Beige, number 53. And I just take that on the setting brush and just tap underneath my eyes. So for bronzer, I don't use traditional bronzer because I'm so pale. I kind of struggle to find ones that work for me in winter. In summer I get away with the Smashbox one, but now this time of year I'm deathly pale. So instead I use the MAC. This is actually Beauty Powder Blush in the shade Personal Style. As you can see, it's quite muddy, it's quite a cool tone, but it does have very, very light kind of silver and some rose gold shimmer in it. It gives quite a beautiful effect on the skin. And I take this on my bronzer one and I just apply it kind of all over my cheeks, just to give my skin a little bit of life. It just makes the complexion look a little bit more alive and less flat, because once you've put foundation on, I sometimes find that your face looks a little bit one-dimensional. And then I just also take it up like that, kind of to areas where the sun would naturally hit your face. It's not rocket science. People always put too much thought into this, I feel. You overthink things. It's fine. Okay, so that's that. And then I move on to blush. And the one that I have been using the most recently is the Blush Subtle from Lancôme. Looks like that. And this is called Petit de Corail. Corail? Petit de Corail. Sorry, the name is smashed off on the back. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, it's quite a bright kind of corally rose pink with very fine rose gold shimmer in it, which is really pretty. And I just take that onto the apples of my cheeks. So you can see it's very pretty and it's quite natural. And I love it. Now moving on to the rest of my face, I'm going to do these brows, which Subtil needs to get his hands on, and I've got an appointment with him next week, so I apologize. They're in really bad shape. So I start by taking just any old spoolie and brushing it through, just to kind of get them into the position that I want them in. And then I use my Elizabeth Arden Beautiful Colour, what is this called? Natural Eyebrow Pencil, and I use the shade Natural Beige. If I've just had my eyebrows done, sometimes I use Brownette, which is the darker shade than this. Oh, there's actually a spoolie on the end of this as well, but I always forget about it. And then I fill in. You can see that this side, this first bit of my right eyebrow is quite sparse. I'm not sure what's going on here. When Subtil does them, he actually tints this side a little bit darker so that it looks more even, but it shows up a lot more on camera than it does in real life. So I'm going to fill that in quite a lot, so I don't look quite so strange. Just use light feathery strokes in the direction of the hair growth. Obviously, if you do any other direction, it's not going to look natural. On days when I don't feel like doing this, I use the Catrice brow set. It's 2 different kind of powders that I just apply with an angled brush. Today I feel like using a retractable pencil though. I'm going to be doing a video, I think next week, on beauty treatments that I get, why I get them, and who I get them with. So keep an eye out for that, and I'll put Subtil's info in that video so you know who I'm talking about and what it is that he does to my brows. And then on this side, I was in a car accident when I was 4 and I went through the windscreen, so I have got a scar right across my eyebrow there that I always need to fill in a little bit more than the rest. Okay, so that's that. Once I've scribbled those in, I then go in with my MAC brow set, and this was clear. I don't know if does anyone else's do this. It goes kind of milky. It's obviously quite gross. It's probably a bacterial growth or just tinting from, obviously you've put foundation on by the time you set your brows. It's really disgusting, but it's just your brows. It's not going on your eye, so it's okay. And I just set those in place with that. On days that I'm being super lazy, I use Benefit Gimme Brow, which is a tinted brow gel. I think I use the shade Medium Deep, and that just really sets them in place. Although I got caught in a very serious downpour the other day and I was wearing Gimme Brow and my eyebrows started kind of bleeding color. It wasn't good. So if it's going to be very rainy, don't do it. Oh, I've just realized I forgot to put highlighter on. I'm going to do my eyes first. For everyday eyes, I'm very, very lazy when it comes to eyeshadow. I just, on a day-to-day basis, I just don't have time for it. So I think I put this in a favourites. I'm using my Inglot palette. I will put the shades below. So this is actually a concealer, this is a lipstick. And then these two are matte shades, and then the one on the end is a kind of metallic shade. Now, I don't normally put the gold on for every day. I use these two colours instead, which they don't really give a lot of colour, but they do kind of just create a little bit of dimension on the eye. I use this brush. It's not, I think it was part of an Elizabeth Arden kit. I'm not 100% sure. It's just a flat shading brush like this. I'm not doing anything too detailed, so I don't need a fine precision brush. So I'm going to be taking this shade here, the colour of which I've forgotten. I will put it in the description box below. And I take that, and I just put it all over my lid to just above my crease. And blend it. You can see it's very subtle. I like doing little bits on each eye at a time rather than doing my whole eye and then moving on to the other one, because I struggle to get them even. So I need to do little bit by little bit, otherwise things go wrong. Right, now next I'm going to take this darker brown, this one here, and I'm just going to take a little bit on the edge of the brush and just stick it in the crease like that. Blending up and then along. Can you hear that? My neighbours, I swear, their gardener has a leaf blower that he uses for probably 8 hours every single Saturday. I don't understand. Anyway, then I do the same on the other side. See, not very much, but enough, I think. That's all I do on a daily basis. Sometimes I will put a little bit of brown pencil, just tight line it along my top lash line, but today I don't feel like doing that, so I'm not going to. Let me do highlighter before I completely forget about it. Again, it's Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. And then I take my Catrice High Glow Mineral Highlighting Powder. That looks like this. It's just so beautiful. And it's called Light Infusion. Now, for highlighter, the best to do is to tilt your face and see where light hits it the best. So you can see that line along there is where I'm going to aim for. And just blend, blend, blend. Can take this under your brow bone here as well if you want, but I don't feel that I need it today. There you go. Oh. And now there's a noisy truck. Sorry. I'm sorry. The light, the sound, I just give up. Now on to lashes. First of all, I curl them. I've got quite long lashes, but they're like elephant eyelashes. They like bending downwards and they look sad. So I use my UBU Lasherazzi curlers. These are the best ones I've found. They are super cheap, available in clicks. They just, I don't know. The silicons last far longer than MAC or Inglot or any of the others. So these are the ones that I use. You can see already it makes such a huge difference. And then my mascara of choice that has replaced my beloved Maybelline Illegal Length mascara is the Lancôme Hypnose Waterproof. Like I say, because my lashes are quite straight, I find that waterproof formulas hold a curl better, so they stay curlier all day than if I do a normal formula. The brush is like that, which I know is not everybody's bag, but I quite like it because I find that it coats each lash really well. I think maybe if you had shorter lashes this wouldn't be great for you, because I think the little stumpy bristles will make quite a mess, but on me it's not bad at all. I also find it's minimal fuss with this. I can't stand mascaras that I have to brush through a million times afterwards to make it look decent. I can't stand tarantula eye look. It drives me absolutely batty. It's like they know that I'm filming and then they start making a noise. Okay, now normally I'm not big on putting mascara on my bottom lashes just because I think I fiddle with my face too much and I always end up getting panda eyes. So I just put whatever's left on the brush along the bottom and it's fine. So almost done. The last thing is lips, and I absolutely adore, this is my Rouge Allure in the shade Volage. It's a very kind of middle of the range nude. That's kind of my lips but better sort of shade. No lip liner or anything like that. I just pop that on you so you can just gives a little bit of colour, a little bit of shine, makes the lips look, find the lid, makes the lips look a little bit more alive, and that's it. That's the finished product. Let's take this very beautiful clip out, and there we go, finished product. I'll see you again next week with a new video. Like I said, it is my beauty treatments that I have, who does them and why I get them. So I will see you then. Until then, have a good week. Bye guys.